Welcome to That Though Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle McPherson.
And I'm your host, Lilly Carr.
Our episodes are brought to you by Rose Hill Library, and today's guest is Mr. Lambert. Before we have him join us, make sure you follow Rocket Productions on Instagram and Facebook. If you have missed any episodes, you can find the Rocket Productions Network anywhere you listen to podcasts. So, Mr. Lambert, how are you doing?
Hey, great to be here, Danielle. Appreciate you guys having me come in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to talk about a couple things. First, the stuff that's been going on around Rose Hill last week, and
Right.
then probably the bond issue and community service
Okay.
day.
Hey, sounds good. Last week was quite a week. It was
Yeah.
kind of a week that just didn't want to end. It was
Yeah.
one of those. But what I like here is people seem to stick together really well and handle it through it. I do know that over my years, I've been now I think 34 years.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, in those 34 years, I've lost 8 students. And it never gets easy, and it's hard on the family and everybody, but our hearts sure go out for what went on. And if anybody sure need any help, we'll sure help out where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that you have lost some students before. What do you kind of do in those situations for the community or for your district?
One of the things that we have to do is we meet as a team when we find out something like that happens, and we try to get facts. We basically have a crisis response team. So like in this case, we got together on Saturday morning right away, and then we started talking about what we were aware of and what was going to be the best approach for helping students, staff, and family through that, and also being sensitive to what was going on.
Yeah.
That's usually the steps you go through. I've always said you never want to get good at responding because that means you've had way too many. And to me, 8 seems like too many for me. But
yeah.
Way
but
too many.
but last week was no. It was one of those tough weeks. But I do really appreciate everybody here, so friendly and thoughtful, and helped everybody through it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it definitely does seem like on social media and stuff with Cake News, it just seems like everybody's coming together a little bit more this
Yeah.
past week.
One of the things here that's been really different on moving to this area is the news.
Oh,
And
yes,
there's
exactly.
nothing wrong with it, but it is so fast.
Oh, yeah.
So when something comes out, I mean, you're talking on a couple of those cases, 8 to 9 minutes of before there is a news truck on site.
Exactly.
And that's something that's kind of really changed with time, and you just got to know that that's how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But boy, it's sure been interesting.
Yeah. So talking a little less about the kid, has the stuff behind Casey's impacted you in any way as a leader?
Yeah, and that whole thing's been kind of interesting too. Your heart goes out to, that could have one time been one of our students, and you just feel terrible about it, and just kind of seeing how things break down. But it's just hard on a town to know that that some of that stuff goes on, and we're just trying to stick with everybody, and I think we'll all make it through it. But it's been interesting, that's for sure. That was why that week just never ended.
Yes, exactly. Do you think, or like, what are some extra stuff that you're gonna do this week to either get us back to where it is, or like try to fix what happened?
Right. I think one of those things that we saw yesterday is we had a really good counseling team that went down to the 5th grade and spent the time there with them. I think it was really good for some of the kids who just don't get some good adult time. I think that was good for them. And I think it really helped our staff. So that's one of the ways that we were doing it. And you'll talk about this in a little bit, but the other thing that we're starting to gear up is kind of the campaign coming up for the bond issue in November. So that's some of the things that we're kind of focusing on.
Okay, yeah. And I definitely know that it's hard because even at that age, it's such like that's where your brain is starting to develop. And
You're right.
It's such a hard time for the kids.
To know you lost like one of your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
Yes.
hard at any stage, but
Yeah.
definitely there, like, that's a thing that, because I know some, like, teacher kids who have parents at that school right now are saying that, like, it was really hard and definitely a shifted environment
Right.
from the
And
past week.
to me, it's really hard at that age to know how to handle a loss like that. And then I think sometimes in situations like this, it can also be more difficult even for the adults.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, you have to handle your, like, emotions and then
Your own,
kids.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We all have our own baggage. Then you got to throw in the other part. So yeah,
Yeah.
no,
But
great
no,
point.
I was gonna say, I definitely do think that the teachers in the district have helped out and really done a good job this past
Thank you.
week.
We're trying. It
You're
was one of those weeks,
Doing
Danielle.
the best.
Oh, yes,
It was.
absolutely. Okay. We'll be right back with Mr. Lambert after this commercial.
The Rose Hill Library started out as a community library at the school. Their hours are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday. They are also closed on Fridays and Sundays. They have nearly 10,000 items to check out, and all you need is a library card. They also have story time on Mondays at 10 a.m., and during the summer they host summer reading programs. The library can also fax and scan documents to a flash drive and make copies for you. You can contact them at 316-776-3013.
The Rose Hill Rec Center was created in 1973 and has been a staple in the Rose Hill community as a place to work out and enjoy fitness. They have a 24-hour fitness center where you can work out in numerous ways. Their office is open 7:30 to 5 on Mondays through Fridays and closed on the weekends. They also have numerous rec leagues ranging from basketball to baseball for all ages. You can contact the Rose Hill Rec Center at 316-776-9880.
Auto Body Connections have been in Rose Hill since 1989. Any mechanical or electrical problems you have, bring it on down to Auto Body Connections and see the team at 325 North Pawson Street in Rose Hill. And the phone number on that is 316-776-0222.
We're back with Mr. Lambert on the At the Hill podcast. So I know you mentioned the bond district,
Yeah.
but what other events are coming up in our district?
I know you guys have Community Service Day coming, which is a big deal, and the student council and all of the students do such a great job. It's been one of the few school districts where I've been where there's so much, it's more student-driven than it is. Most places I've been, it's more adult-driven.
Yeah.
So, and the students just go do the work. Here, it seems like the students are driving for what needs to be done and coming up with a plan and getting everything organized. I think it's really neat, and I'm
And
excited.
I was gonna say it definitely helps though, because our Stuco is for the students, and so having adults do that, we're able to as students and as a student body connect with it and know what people are gonna want to do.
Mhm.
But yeah.
And we're so blessed here with the student council, the Ks, all
Yeah.
those groups, just really thinking about others. So that's been awesome.
How are you involved in Community Service Day?
Well, I found out that I am grilling.
You're
Grilling. So I'm sorry about that. You might want to bring a sandwich.
I believe in you. You got it.
I think you can do it. I was gonna say, I don't know if we've had seniors before do it or if adults have done it, but I definitely think you're probably more
You got it.
qualified.
Okay, we'll go
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
We'll see how you like your burgers
Exactly.
or hot dogs, whatever we're cooking.
Yeah. So what about the bond that's coming up? How are you gonna
Yeah.
pave that way?
Sure. With that, I think it's important for your age group to also know, well, how is it going to affect me? And, if I'm in a certain grade, am I going to get to see this if it happens? Well, the focus of the bond issue is going to be on, one, safe and security. We're trying to make sure that all our entrances, basically when you came in, you would come right into the office. Two, at the other buildings, there's no storm shelters.
Oh yeah.
So then we're also then trying to add one here too, but to have dual purpose. So at the elementary, that storm shelter would have an addition for the PK. At the middle school, that would have an addition for a flex room, you could have an entire group of students in there, a grade level. Here, we could add into our weight room, wrestling room, and some stuff for the band room.
Oh yeah, perfect.
And then on the focus here at the high school is really on, there hasn't been much renovation done here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clean. The custodians do a great job of keeping
absolutely.
it clean, but it needs some love, and the theater is just not in good shape.
Oh no,
Yeah, it
definitely.
needs to
So
be
that would be a
updated.
big priority of it. FCS room, we have such a good program there, and a lot of the students love to cook. We can do more there. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at, doing all that. As far as right outside, if you're involved in activities, we're looking at putting up soccer practice field that would also be there for band, PE, football, all of that. And then also having a softball field here on the campus that would be turf. And I know for some of the people that are saying, well, if I'm a senior, I'm not going to get to see any of this. There's a chance if it passes. Our goal would be to get the soccer field and the softball field done by April 1st.
Okay.
So we'd be up for the season. Can't make that promise, but that would be our goal
Exactly.
on that. The other stuff then would be probably a transition for the next year of getting all the construction done.
Yeah. And I definitely think admin and students really want to update the school a little bit because, like you said, it's been a hot minute since stuff has been updated.
That's a great point. So
Yeah.
yes, it definitely needs some care.
Yeah, exactly. And we love that you're looking into stuff, especially theater and not just because I know a lot of schools focus on sports or Derby updates their field basically every year.
One of the
Yeah.
things I remember at the last place, we were building a new gym and a new auditorium. Well, there was a lady who came in and was upset because how nice the gym was.
Oh.
And I said, okay, let's go over to the auditorium.
Let's go.
And then she was in disbelief because on the same level of what the gym was, if you're into theater and that, the theater was maybe even at a higher level.
Oh, yeah.
So I've had the experience of doing 2 theaters, so I'm kind of excited that if we get the chance, what we can do to it.
Yes, exactly.
Because you're all in there. And the plays I saw here were amazing so
Yeah.
far.
Oh, yeah.
And the concerts
They're
are
really good.
amazing. Why not have a venue that fits our talent?
Exactly. Like,
Yep.
because I mean, that could also help our departments update themselves and get
Right.
better. And, like, I mean, they're already amazing.
Yeah, and I think that helps bring in crowds too. And to me, when I was a kid, it was like, football was so important to me. But now, all the activities matter. Every single one of them, and they're just important to everybody else. So that's what we have to take a look at. And that's what excites me about doing that, doing the FCS room, doing the hallways, doing the classrooms.
Yeah.
It's just going to
Exactly.
benefit everybody.
Yeah, that's
Not
what I
just
like. Something.
a certain group of people.
Yeah, this bond issue, what I kind of like on this one, each school, there's something for them in it. And then especially at the high school, there's almost something for each student.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So anyways, hope people can register to vote, get out there
Exactly.
and get it done.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and
Thank you.
talking to us. Thank you for watching the At the Hill podcast. If you missed any episodes, you can find them wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow Rock Productions on Instagram and Facebook. I'm your host, Danielle McPherson.
And I'm your host, Lilly Carr.